now we're actually getting to the acting part of this voice acting thing. You have to put yourself out there in the character's shoes, and the way I was told is not even to put yourself into the character's shoes, but to actually do what the character's doing, feel what the character's feeling. Don't see them as a character, because then you're going to be thinking, well, what would he say? When really, it kind of needs to be not exactly what I would say, because there's some things you would never say.
You're Junpei.
Yeah, no, I always do it. No, but if you're in the character and you're actually thinking, well, what do I want to hear back from this person? Well, if I was in this character's shoes, how would I be feeling right now? I would be terrified. Would I be happy? Just if you actually are feeling the emotion while you're reading the lines, that'll come through when you're actually acting.
And don't be afraid of that emotion. Especially when you're starting out, it's really easy to pull back and say, okay, well, I kind of want to do this, so I'll put a little bit of my voice into it, and maybe if they like it, I'll do a little more. Don't do that.
Yeah.
What you want to do is put yourself out there from the start, even though it can be absolutely terrifying, and I know that. But go up there, bring it up to the next level, go a little louder, go a little more energetic. Just put a little more soul into it, and your director will let you know if you're taking it too far.
Yeah.
If you're overacting, that's the first thing that they'll tell you. But chances are, everyone will not be going that far to begin with.
Yeah, I was told, start at 110% and then pull yourself back.
Yeah.
Just so you at least know that you can go that far if need be, but if it's not necessary, cool, I'll just do it a little less.
And even if the lines that you're getting for audition seem pretty random, pretty bland or boring,
No
you
context.
can put something into it, even if you don't have the context.
Yeah, if there isn't any context, it's important not to just read the lines verbatim as they are written, like saying, that costume is just adorable. Because that doesn't mean anything, just saying it like that. You actually have to be feeling it, you have to actually be thinking, the costume. So you gotta be talking about the costume. Wow, that costume's adorable.
I don't
Great.
believe you.
No, I know. I'll try again later.
Lines.
And that's what directing's about.
And you can try again later. You never, ever, ever online have to turn in the absolute first thing that you record.
Yeah.
You can do it 10,000 times if you want. Not that I recommend that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, probably won't.
You could I would really recommend doing a couple takes and seeing how you like it. You might discover, hey, I kind of stumbled a bit the first time, and the second time, I think I said it a little weird, but the third time, that came across the way that I wanted it to. And you can always just edit the first two out. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, I was always thinking that the sweet spot of different takes to do is 3. Which is the thing in voice acting, is an ABC take, where you do one take one way, one take another, one take another, and that at least gives the director some insight into what you are capable of doing. If you just do all 3 takes exactly the same, then you might as well just delete the other 2, because they're not going to learn anything from that.
If you do 3 takes the same way each time, you're not growing from it either. You're just showing, hey, I can repeat the same thing the same way. Hey, I can repeat the same thing the same way. Hey, I can repeat the same thing the same way. That doesn't help anyone.
Yeah. It's also pretty important to how you act, how you present yourself in to the actual people that you are trying to get a job from. There are a million horror stories, I think we each have, about just stuff that doesn't go great, people just acting out insanely. It sounds like it shouldn't be complicated to just go out and act professional, but some people can't do that. Some people are just crazy.
This is the internet.
That can be good, it's just not good all the time.
The internet is a great and wonderful place full of strangers who get stranger and stranger the more you're on the internet.
Yeah.
But that can be good too. I've met some of my best friends on the internet, and I've met them through voice acting projects for the most part. Because part of auditioning is that when you make it in your project, you'll usually meet your other actors. What we do and what most groups do is actually coordinate over Skype for the most part. So we'll have a group with everyone involved in the project as a part of the project. And so they'll get to meet each other and say, hey, I know you, I was in this other project with you.
Yeah.
And so if they see another project come out with auditions, they might say, hey, you might be interested in this one.
Yeah. And try just not to be a jerk in general.
Yeah, people usually like jerks.
Yeah, if people like working with you, they'll recommend you to people. If they recommend you to people, you can make contacts. If you make contacts, you get more work.
networking is very important. Not because the networking itself is important, but because knowing that people are willing to work with you means that more people will be willing to work with you. We shouldn't have, being friends is very nice, and being friends is awesome. But we shouldn't have to say don't be a jerk, but don't be a jerk. We have had wonderful voice actors who are really good at what they do, who we will not work with, and we cannot work with.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the project itself, because humans don't live in a vacuum. It's not just about the work. It's about how you interact with the other people around you. And it can either be a great group of friends coming up with something awesome, or it can be one person creating drama that nobody wants to deal with, so they don't even want to record their lines.
There are always other people too. So
Yeah.
if
Always
you're
other
a jerk, you'll get passed up for somebody else.
Or there was a saying that you're irreplaceable, but in voice acting you're super replaceable. There are a million people who sound just like you that can easily take that spot from you, and they will. So if they have the opportunity
It's
to.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened
Yeah.
in the group. We've
It's
had
happened in the
people be
group.
replaced.
So just don't give people the opportunity to replace you.
Yeah.
Be tiring. No, so just general etiquette to follow. When you're submitting auditions, be very courteous. Just don't try to say, "Hey, thank you for the opportunity." Don't demand the part.
Yeah.
Don't demand feedback.
You
I
don't
know
need to
that's
like kiss
a
up
little-
to people, but
There is
little
times if director's going to
Maybe a
give you feedback, they'll give you feedback.
Yeah.
Going out of your way and saying, "Hey, give me feedback. I want to know how to improve," automatically leaves a bad taste in the director's
Yeah.
mouth.
If you want feedback, audition for more than one character. Don't just audition for the main character who you know that everyone else is going to audition for because they're the only person they recognize. Audition for the side characters. Do something a little different, maybe something a little outside of your comfort zone. And maybe the audition will come up to you and say, "Hey, I think this suited you a little better." Or, "Why don't you go for this character instead?" Because if you show that you're willing to explore and put a little more into it, that's what people appreciate, and that's what people want to work with.
And essentially, that's the big part. If you and your fellow project members are seen as equals and buddies and pals, then it's going to be a fun time recording. And that's really what you want to do. You want to have a really fun time just making pretend.
And it's a
goofing around.
blast.
It's fun.
I mean, that's why we do it, because it's fun. And if it's not fun, don't do it. Just straight up, if you're not having fun, there's no point in you doing it. Because for the most part, it's volunteer work. It's you volunteering your time to be creating something with a bunch of other people. And so if you're not having fun and you're not willing to do your part, just get out. Get out and have someone else take your place, because it's not going to be a good situation for anyone.
So just basically don't be a diva.
Don't be a
That's
diva.
the thing. Not the character.
new
Yeah.
character.
There's just, I believe we've covered a lot of.
Remove the script,
It's
or-
it's 3:30.
There's definitely a bit more than we do.
I just want to know if we could.
We have plenty of time.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I'll time keep for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So let's see. And there are a wide variety of projects that you can audition for. It's not all just anime. We specialize in mainly video games, but there's also radio plays that people do, or completely original work. It could be, there's actually a bunch of music videos that people are constantly trying to get singers for, if that's what you're interested in. And that kind of follows the exact same rules. You'll audition the same way, you'll sing the song, and then you'll send it into them and join the group. That's how it works.
Yeah, and one thing that I did forget to touch on, it slipped my mind, was when you are auditioning for maybe some bigger projects, they might ask you for a demo reel.
Yes.
And the demo reel is essentially what it sounds like, a demonstration of what you're capable of, just back to back. So typically there are multiple types of demo reels. We can cover commercial and character. Commercial demo reels are just that. You're doing commercials, essentially. Not real commercials. I mean, they could be. But you just basically show that, hey, I can advertise a product. Here's what I sound like when I'm doing it. Here's what a car commercial sounds like. If you want a car commercial.
I've done commercials for people. The important thing for those is that you actually use your voice.
Yeah.
It's great if you can do an impression of something. It's great if you can do an awesome accent. Marianne does awesome accents. Or a particular character voice or outside of your range. That's fantastic. But directors need to know what you sound like, because this might sound surprising to hear, but most characters are actually human. And it's a shocker. It's a shocker.
Yes.
But I am human. You are human. Most characters are human.
That's arguable.
Yeah, okay. That might be arguable, but leaving that aside, because I'm ignoring that, most characters are human. And so you might not sound that far off from the basics of what they need to start with. And particularly if you're supposed to sound for a commercial, like a person who might exist who wants a thing. That's a very relatable thing, and you need to be relatable. You need to be you.
There are certain character archetypes for commercial demos too. Typically for car commercials and trucks and stuff, they want someone who sounds middle-aged, older. And the important part of that is if you are trying to do a demo, and that's one of the options, if that is out of your range, don't go for that. Because if they want someone to sound old, they'll just hire an old person.
Yeah.
So they won't hire someone who's a young person that they can tell is putting on a voice.
Yeah.
So it's important to sound real. The characters need to, or not characters, the commercial demo needs to sound real.
And touching on that, the demo in general is going to want to show you at your best. So only put your best stuff on there. Don't just do every single voice that you know how to do just to show I can do that voice. Because they're not going to hire you for I can do that voice. They're going to hire you for you're the best that can do that voice and act in it.
You also don't want to make it too long. For demo reels, you don't want to make it over a minute long, because if it's over a minute long, someone's not going to listen to the end of it. I know a minute can seem like a very short period of time, but for people who are listening to auditions after auditions and demo reels after demo reels, you need to hook them in and then keep them there. You need to put your best foot forward and then have a strong ending to it. And so don't overload it with everything that you can do. Don't do 20 voices within 1 minute with a word in each voice. Pick a couple of solids that you know that you're good with that show off your range in a bit, and then use that. Just make it solid.
5 or 6 is usually a good number for that. That's enough to fit in, not like long paragraphs, or just a quick line that shows this is what it sounds like. And that's especially prevalent in character demos, more so than commercial. But character stuff is also changing. It used to be that would be the one where you would do your real voice for like one, and then the rest of it would be the voices you can do.
Right.
But with them now, the agencies more so than ever want characters that sound like real people. So you don't want to do extremely exaggerated performance. 1 or 2 is good, to at least show that you can do that. But you kind of want to stick to sounding like a real person, which is why a lot of time they want to hear your real voice. So as much as you can act in your real voice in a character demo, and at least show that you have versatility with that same voice, that is going to show a lot more than a bunch of silly voices.
Also, if you're going to do if you want to do character voices, a really good way to get more voices in is to do 2 in 1. So say you do a really good English accent. Okay, that's very good. And say, you can sound like a kid really well. Well, instead of doing 1 of each, go, okay, so I'm an English kid. That way they show, okay, you can do both of those. Instead of having 2 separate. And it saves time that way as well.
Absolutely. With these demo reels, you're advertising yourself. You are showing someone who's probably never heard you, never heard of you, what you can do. So let them know. You can feel free to take all the time that you want in creating it, just put your best foot forward for it.
And as long as you make a good impression with the agent and your stuff sounds good, you have a pretty decent chance of at least hearing something back from them. I'm not going to say you're going to get an agent right away. My talks with the agent were like, okay, I might send you something. He just didn't. So that just happens.
Let's see. Oh, good. Copyright law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fun times ahead.
So YouTube is an amazing place. It's a great part of the internet. And some of their laws make it seem like they hate everyone, but that's okay. Because the most important thing is for copyright, not overstepping anything that can get it taken down.
Do not sell fan projects. If it's a fan project, you're doing that for free, and you're not going to bring up advertising. You're not going to go to a professional studio and say, hey, look what I did with your stuff. That's a really quick way to get, to take down worse, but probably not as bad as it could be. Yeah.
We've had some problems with copyright law because of little things, like background music even, because that's something that you don't really think about. It's just there in the background. But everything has something that goes with it. So it's important to actually cite your sources and to put disclaimers places saying, hey, this is the company that created it, we are fans. First off, if you're doing something that's based on someone else's work, acknowledge the creator. And just be aware that as you're doing something like that, and if you're doing a very popular series, it could be that whatever you post up, if it has the original video, it could get taken down because it is the original video. And if they don't want anyone to do fan stuff of their work, you can't do fan stuff of their work. You could leave it as purely audio, and you can do it just with your friends because it is a lot of fun. But you can't post it on YouTube.
Yeah, and if it's an independent producer of any kind, you can actually reach out to them and say, hey, I want to do this fan thing for your work. And if they say that's fine, they'll let you do it. You might have to make a deal with them, not like a money deal.
Didn't we do that with one
Cartogra.
of the... Cartogra, that's right.
Yeah, we dubbed one series Cartogra, and Manga Gamer reached out to us and said, hey, we're a little concerned that you would be posting this much of it on the internet. So we worked with them, and by doing only specific routes and specific parts of different games, they're willing to work with us because we are talking to them and getting the communication up.
We also had to delete all references to our donation page, which also, you know, it makes sense.
Yeah, saying give us money so we can do fan stuff is kind of iffy.
So it's important to listen to stuff like that.
And it can end up being a pretty good thing